Went wrong.
Oh.
Hello, we are live. Hey,
Hey,
everybody.
everyone.
Hey, y'all. How's everybody doing tonight? It is your favorite baby mothers out here. Hey, Elle, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Lex. How are you?
I'm fine. I couldn't wait.
Right. As our girlfriend Mary has echoed.
You looking super cute with your glasses on and your hair swooped to the
Thank
side.
you. Yes. I try to get myself together today,
Hey, to everybody who's tuning in. It is Alexia and your proud Coco Mom L here for tonight's Coco Connect. Make sure you start off by dropping those hearts in the chat. We have an amazing guest here for you today. The doc is in. That's all I'm going to say. The doc is in. We're about to get some great feedback on how we better take care of ourselves, especially amidst all the things that are going on. So you're hanging out with us today. Hey to our healing Coco moms. You looking beautiful too. Hello. Hey, Miss Lord. Hey, y'all. Greetings, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Drop those hearts. Come and join us. We are missing our two other Coco moms, our CBT Coco mom and our healing Coco mom, who you just saw in the chat. But they had some much needed self-care time. So that's what they are taking. But we thank them for showing up like always. And thanks for rocking out with MJB's Fine. Question. Elle, did you hear Mary J's latest song, Gorgeous? Or Good Morning, Gorgeous? Man, it is amazing. I did a whole little reel on it type thing. I was about to say TikTok, but it's a reel because it's on Instagram. I'll put it on TikTok. But it's like literally when I wake up in the morning, I say to myself, good morning, gorgeous. And it's just, so you know how we used to always say, well, people used to always say, like, we like sad MJB, like when she going through some things is when she gets, but this album, between Amazing and this one, like, she's definitely bringing the heat. Has anybody else heard her latest song? Drop it in the chat if you have. But happy birthday. You got a 2-year-old. What's up with that?
2-year-old. I don't even know, but she, acting very, giving all of 2 is what she's giving. All of it.
Would you say she is very much so given 2? Well, happy second birthday to Blue Jay. She celebrated a birthday on Monday. She is officially 2 years old. She's in the terrific 2s, we'll say. We're not going to claim terrible. We say terrific. Or to try my nerves, 2s. However you want to look at it. But
that was 1 too. And 1 as well.
Well, so excited, everybody, to be joined today with you all. We have a great conversation. Again, our Coco Connect today is entitled, The Doc is In, Tips to Advocate for Your Self-Care and More. So joining us today is an amazing psychotherapist. She is a wellness coach. I got introduced to her through Instagram. And just by following, like going down my rabbit hole of hashtags around wellness and best practices and all of those sorts of things. And I come across this page, and the first video I saw was her getting it in on this Peloton. Okay. Getting it in on this Peloton. And I was like, that's dope, because I definitely, the biking, man. But I've been on this, wellness journey last year myself. So it was really great to see. And then as I'm going through her page more and more, I see this beautiful, handsome young man out there, and he's doing his thing. And then I catch this clip of this barber who is cutting his hair, but in the most in the most amazing way. Like, and to me, it really made me think of how we as people should always be open to doing what best serves the audience that we support, right? You cannot call yourself in the service industry or service related field and not serve your people. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So with that, please, everybody, welcome to our virtual stage, Dr. LaQuista. Hey.
Welcome.
Right. And our answers don't, right? She's like, wait, I'm on mute.
Yeah, I'm on mute.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry. But yeah, y'all have this high energy and I'm over here like trying to hype myself up and womp womp. I'm on
No. Can we just say though, like in all fairness though, Dr. LaQuista just got done doing her thing. Okay. So she's fresh off of the pivot. So we are intentional and we appreciate you jumping on. So thank you so much to that. And thank you for the work that you do. Like that's just a beautiful thing. Thank you for
Yeah.
showing up.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here tonight.
And I'm loving your earrings too. Those are super cute.
Oh,
We
thank you.
almost
They
met
kind
in.
of look, we're twinning over here, and we kind of got this color scheme going
We,
on, like all three of us.
We got our
Yeah,
earth tone vibes kind of getting it in.
Yes.
Got our locks going. That's we
yeah.
see. We show up. We us Coco Mom show up how we show up. So before we get into like the meat and potatoes of everything, we like to,
Mhm.
I don't want to say play a game, but we like to kind of put a call out to ask what your Coco Mom or Coco Queen superpower is. So for instance, I go by your Coco Mom Evolved because most of what I do, all of what I do, and all of what I feel makes me great and helps me to show up for people in my space is by helping them to recognize their best selves and where they can be great and how to evolve through different aspects of life and changes. So that's why I go by my Coco Mom Evolve. Elle, you want to share your superpower?
Yes, and my Coco Mom superpower is transparency. So I'm the proud Coco Mom, and I'm very proud of the journey that I've had thus far. So I am very transparent in the things that I share so that I'm able to help other women overcome things that they may experience in life.
Yes. So we got the same question for you. What would you say your Coco Mom, your Coco Queen superpower is? I mean, you know.
Yeah. So you can kind of put me on the spot, but I'm gonna say um, I'm a self-proclaimed self-carer, and I do ER, like capital ER, which essentially means that self-care is so important to me in my life. It's like urgent care. So 911, emergency, ER, self-care, you got to get it in. And I was the total opposite of that. And just through like regaining um, my focus and really getting into self love, I started to learn how to take care of myself more and started to see the transformation in all aspects of my life. So, my what is it? Superpower.
Yes.
See, I got the self, all these S's. My superpower is I am a self proclaimed Coco Mom, self care urgent care. Yeah.
Oh, come on now. I like that. I like that. And I love that you said it came out of you recognizing that kind of that deficit in yourself and
Mhm.
realizing, you know what, I actually need to be more intentional about this because I feel like so often, I know we have all shared that, like how that was not a focus at all. So we appreciate you kind of leaning into that and giving us some hope in that direction. I'm gonna put Elle on the spot real quick. Is there anything that from 2021 into now that you feel has improved about your own mindset around self-care?
Um, I think that I just make more time for myself to be with myself. And
Mhm.
Nana, who everybody knows, she's like my grandmother. She watches the baby for me. And one thing she told me was like, it does not make you a bad mom to need a break. Like it's
Mm.
365 days in a year. At least 10 of those are yours. Like that's what she told me. And so that's what I've been like, I make sure I get my day. She like, leave the baby here, let her stay all night. I don't care if you're gonna be home. At least you home, relaxing and not having to worry about anything. So that's really one thing that I have learned, that it's okay to take a break. It doesn't change the way you view your child. It doesn't make you love your child less. It just means that you're human and sometimes you need to take care of yourself.
Mm, I definitely received that. Dr. LaQuista, do you seem to run into in your work, in the work that you do, and please also take this opportunity to share all of the different ways that you show up, especially being such an advocate in our community. But do you run into a lot of those challenges where, women, men in general kind of struggle to create boundaries and opportunities for self-care?
Oh, yeah. So, as a therapist, boundaries is like the number one issue that people are really struggling with. And now it's like on the forefront of everybody's mind and conversation. How do I create healthy boundaries? And so, with more people being open to therapy and just coming to therapy, we see it a lot more. And for many of my colleagues in the mental health space, we're naturally like a the type of person who wants to help, and so we do all the things. Like, we're kind of like busybodies. Like, we're running businesses, we're doing therapy, we're probably the go-to person in our family, our friends. Like, we're doing so much, and we used to, well, for me, I used to hold that kind of like as a badge of honor. Like, I can do all these things. I'm this super mom, I'm this super wife, I'm this super thing, but I'm also super burnt out. I'm super tired, just like all of my clients. So when the pandemic hit, back in, how long we been in this thing? Like 2020?
2020.
Um, yeah, that was like the rush of people like really coming to me for therapy. I was fresh off of divorce, actually in the middle of a divorce, had moved from New Jersey back to Georgia, my home state. And so I had left my practice in New Jersey, wasn't really working, but here in Georgia, trying to figure things out, people weren't as open to like telehealth. And so I was actually flying back and forth, doing all the things like, newly
What?
single mom.
Flying back
Yeah,
and forth
flying back and forth
to
from
New
Georgia
Jersey?
to New Jersey. I had my office in New Jersey. I had left my job, started this private practice, had a lease on had a lease on an office, had just leased a new office. So I had two offices. The divorce completely like caught me off guard. Like, I had no idea. Like, we're not even gonna get into that because that's not that's not what this is about today. But
For another
it
time.
happened so fast, and I was just blindsided. Like, it was like one day, okay, I don't want to be married anymore. I'm moving to Oklahoma. Bye. That's really literally how it went. And so I'm like, oh crap. Let me find a job. I'm marketable, I'm professional, I'm smart, like I'm a doctor. I can go to,
Come on, say that.
Atlanta, get me a job. But Georgia was like, oh, pump your brakes. You got to get your license here. And it really took 6+ months to get my license. So although I had found a job here, I couldn't start work because I didn't have my license. And so I was forced to fly back to New
Oh.
Jersey to see my clients. And I was trying to do it as, financially responsible as possible, like trying to go like every other week, which still sounds ridiculous now that you talk now that I'm saying it aloud, but just doing what I can. But when the pandemic hit, as horrible as it was, as many things that I lost in the pandemic,
Mhm.
it was a flood of clients. I literally remember sitting and opening up my email. Jackson's trying to make an appearance. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
It's a junior intern.
Oh my goodness. Give me 1 second. Mommy
That's
do.
fine.
Let
Yep.
me
Go, mom.
let him grace grace his
Up to.
presence. Oh gosh.
Listen,
That's
for
it.
everybody who is just tuning in, we have just started an amazing conversation with just already an inspiring Coco mom. Like, bless you. Oh, already with a wonderful Coco mom, Dr. LaQuista. She was in New Jersey. She was just telling us, went all the way to Atlanta, experienced some shifts and changes in her marriage, went through a divorce, had to reinvent herself in the terms of moving to a new space, and now having to adjust to what the responsibilities and requirements are of that new space. She's also a mother, okay? and she's an advocate. So all of those things to get all any of those one things is a lot. Okay. Now you put them all together, and we were just finding out more about what that transition was like, and kind of how you've seen people show up since this pandemic has hit.
Yeah. So before Jackson, so rudely interrupted, but no, he does that all the time. So
And I love
yeah,
it.
so I literally opened up my email, and I promise you it was maybe 50 emails, requests for appointments within like a 2 hour like time frame. I'm like, where did these people find me? But I'm
Wow.
like, oh God, thank you. Like this is what I needed. And I really was like grinding. Like everything just started to fall in place. I at that time I actually found a job. I was doing therapy. So I'm like in hustle mode. And in that, I lost myself. Like I was still
Yeah.
very depressed from this divorce, going through that back and forth, like trying to recoup all this financial
Listen.
all this money I lost, and just grinding. And in turn, my health started to decline. Mentally, I was not in a good space. And then, if you've been following me, my son has autism. And
Mhm.
so not only was this hard for me, it was hard for him. At the time he's 3 going on 4 years old. And, transitions are really hard,
Mhm.
and he just started to revert in a lot of his behaviors, like he's missing his dad, a lot of things. And so as I began to break down, it
Yeah.
was just too much.
Yeah.
And it was, you speak of my Peloton that I love so much. So in one of my depressive like moods, I'm like ordering stuff. No, it ain't got no money. I'm like ordering this Peloton, putting it on my credit, and it literally sat there for months. It was like a clothes
Mhm.
hanger at
Mhm.
this point. And I was like, girl, get up. Like you gained weight. Like you look horrible over here, which I'm, all for, you know, body positivity, but
Right.
I felt horrible. Like I had never carried this much weight in my life. Like I wasn't eating. I just was not in a good space. And so I made it up in my mind that okay, I'm just gonna start focusing on me,
Mm.
because all these things, material things like this career, this job, this man, none of it matters. Like I have to be here for my children. This pandemic is out here. I don't want to leave my kids.
Listen.
Like it really scared me.
Mm.
And that's what I did. I started focusing on my fitness. I started feeling good about myself, and I started setting boundaries. Like I'm like, nobody's gonna, you know, dictate how I live. Like I'm never gonna put myself in a situation in which I'm like caught off guard like this before. I have to take control of my life. And so what I noticed in practice was the people who sat across from me on the screen, like we're not in an office, like we're in telehealth, like they were
Mhm.
going through the same thing. Maybe
Mhm.
not a divorce or, you know, dealing with like a child with special needs, but they were doing all of the things, particularly women. Like, what
Yeah.
do? We take care of everybody else. We're doing all the things, like, we're carrying all the burden and we leave ourselves for last. And that's really when I had this idea that I have to help women prioritize self care, because people were inboxing me, what are you doing? Like, you look amazing. Like, there's a glow about you. There's something about you. And I'm like, okay, I take care of myself. It's self
Mhm.
care. And that's not to say that I just go get spas and
Right.
manis and petties, but I say no to the things that don't serve me. I say yes to the things that I want to. I take care of myself. I'm aware of who I have around me, what I put in my body. I take time out to spend with my kids, and those things have just become like a staple in my life. And those are the things that I preach to like my clients, and also which started me on this journey of, okay, how do I tell this story to other women? How do I help these women? And so I created this brand, Well and Fit Living, which started out as a subscription box service to help women prioritize self care through wellness, fitness, and mental health. But it has really evolved into like this whole brand. So I'm now like a blogger, talking about like my journey. I have like additional products like therapy cards, like journals, like just ways to make it easier for women, for moms, really anybody. I think it's so
Yeah.
important for anybody to prioritize these things. So, yeah, that's kind of like my mission and where I'm at.
Oh my gosh. Like everything about what you shared is just so encouraging. And even to the women, of obviously our audience, Coco Life Black, we lift up the Black and brown mom space. Those women who we target pregnant, postpartum, and compassion if they've experienced the loss of a child or a significant loved one. And in that, though, this is why we like to bring these wonderful resources to the community, because so often, women, moms, especially Black moms, especially feel forgotten about. And don't really, they know stuff may be out there, but they're not sure, or you lose yourself so much you can't even take a minute to try to figure out, like, how do I make this first step. And I know something that our healing Coco mom Anika always talks about is the therapy in self-care, and especially I know one of the workshops that she does through her business, Writings on the Wall, is self-discovery through writing. And so, like you mentioned about having these tools accessible is important, so that, when I'm not talking to Dr. LaQuista, or if I can't get to Dr. LaQuista right then and there, I have this connection based on what Dr. LaQuista has given me. It's the hand for me, though. It's the hand.
Well,
I love
come
it.
on, say hey.
Listen, hat,
Look,
your twin, first off. Oh my gosh.
Whole same face, whole face.
Oh,
Handsome.
hi, handsome. Hey, right. He like,
try to
okay,
act shy.
right. Hey, I know. I done seen your Mario pictures and all your stuff. So I know you are an artist, okay, out here, a creative, if you will. And I just love that you've created this space also to help moms. And I know we have some moms who are tuning in who are looking to advocate for their children who are special needs as well, and maybe may have autism. And so one of the I know I think you had a question that had come up from somebody when they heard about the show, and please feel free to lift that up.
So I was speaking with one of my friends who has a son with autism, and basically, one of the things that continues to come up is like co-parenting. When you have a child with special needs, because one parent may be, for lack of a better word, in denial, right? That um, the condition exists. So her son has autism. He's 13. So that's he's pretty old, but the father is still like kind of not understanding why he has to receive certain services or things like that. So what is some advice that you could give to someone who's co-parenting with someone who's not really as accepting?
Hold on, baby. Yeah, like I'm kind of exploring this co-parenting thing now that I'm divorced, so it's kind of new territory for me. But I know when Jackson was first diagnosed, there was a lot of kind of hesitancy with, okay, is it autism? There's so much shame and stigma surrounding that, especially like in our community. I was recently asked a question about how supportive was my family with his diagnosis, and I said, my family was as supportive as they could be, and how they knew to be supportive. And a lot of people, oh, don't worry, there's nothing wrong, and particularly for my mom, she's like, there's nothing wrong with my grandson. And no, there's nothing wrong with him, but he does have challenges. And I think, we have to move away from thinking, okay, if you have, whether it's autism or depression, to stop thinking that these things do not exist. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It's just a way for you to identify, okay, what do I need to do to best help my child? Oh my gosh.
Ah, that was the best.
He said, Mom,
No, I love it. That's perfect. I love him.
I love it.
oh my, this is real life. This is like my
And thank,
real life,
come
y'all. I
on.
cannot make this
So
up.
So for people who are like, oh, I can't do this because I got a child, or I have a child that has special needs, or I have this going on or that going on. I'm trying to start my business. I'm trying to reinvent myself. I went through a divorce, and here you go. And it doesn't mean that we're minimizing what you're going through.
Right.
It does mean, though, like you're leading into, Dr. LaQuista, identifying an awareness. Then you can get the right support. So go ahead, Mom.
How you spell head?
HAD. He's learning how to spell and do all
Oh,
these
yay.
things. So he sends me notes all the time. It's so funny. But yeah, so like if you have Jackson, please HAD had.
Right.
Okay.
Spell it first, and I go away.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll talk to you
Right.
later. Uh, yeah. So if you have like a parent that you're trying to co-parent with and they're not getting it, you have to do what you have to do what's best for your child. And so this is where you really like gain your advocacy wings, because you are going to be your child's biggest advocate, biggest support. And you may get pushback whether, you're with the other parent or not. It's people who are married under the same roof, and there's that conflict there. But as a mother, as a father, we're focusing on the mom. I think you said like your friend, like she, is the father who isn't really accepting or believing. She just has to do what she feels is best for her son, continue to provide him with that support and advocate for that. And if it comes to it, like if you go to court, like what judge or what lawyer is going to be like, oh, you're a horrible mom because you're advocating for your child who has this diagnosis? You have the paperwork, you have, like you've gone to the doctor. Like they're going to tell this guy that, sir, get it together.
Period.
Plain and simple. So yeah, just tell her to hang in there. It may feel lonely and isolating at times, but as a mom, she knows she's doing the right thing, and just continue to do that. Continue to support her son, support like his gifts, whatever they are. And just because you have autism doesn't mean you can't be or do whatever you want. Like Jackson here, he
Is
it's
the
a
future.
whole mess over here, but he's so talented, like he's so smart, and he's never let anything kind of stop him. And when I see something that he really is good at or that he shows an interest, I try to water that, and I try to just pour into that and help him kind of nurture and find out what he likes.
I love that. I love the water, their interest. I mean, and that just makes me think in terms of parenting from all these different spaces and places. If you are a parent who has suffered from depression, or you are navigating anxiety or the loss, or you have your own needs and abilities,
Closer.
and it's like being able to water their interest. Like that's the best advice for a parent. Like if you see something, especially in our community, we don't have to just put emphasis on football and sports and things like that anymore. And we can highlight all of these different amazing people that are in our community right in our backyard. So we know it's Black History Month, and while we don't subscribe to the notion that it should be watered down to a month, so to speak, we are going to use this time and this platform to say this is why you got to have a conversation about Black Americans, Black history, Black Pan-Africans, Black people, and our Black and brown people all year round, because there's so many awesome people. And I know for me, like, I'm really big on making sure that these kids know the ones like right in their circle. Like, they're gonna know Dr. LaQuista, they know the proud Coco Mom L, they know the healing Coco Mom. Like, these aren't people that are far away from them. So it feels more like, oh, okay, I can be great, and I do have some great, resources right here. Not taking anything away from Dr. King and Rosa and all the others, but we gotta make sure that we water their interest and make sure that they know where they come from too and who's in their community. We did get a question in the chat from our Coco Mom T. Hey T. Says, what can the support folks in the village do to help moms with special need children? So that's the other pieces. We want to make sure that, like you said, sometimes your family, they don't know what to do. We said the same thing with talking to our proud Coco Mom around loss. Sometimes they just don't know what to do and what to say. So what are some tips or advice that you have for those folks? How can they support?
Yeah. So if you know, like a mom, like just ask if they need anything. It's one of the hardest things for many of us to do is to admit that we need help or to even ask for help. And so sometimes it just takes a person putting that invitation out there. Hey, if you need me, I'm here. Like, is there something I can do for you? Like, one of my best friends, there were times when, Jackson and I, like, we've been on this journey, and he's at 6 years old. Like, we kind of finally found our stride where, he's not having like the tantrums every couple hours and I'm over there like really stressed out. But in those times, yeah, my mom or my best friend would just come and give me an hour so I could take a nap, or I could just go to the store by myself and not have to worry, or, bring me a dinner, or just sit and talk or listen without judgment. So if someone is in your life and that, they have a child who has special needs, like just sometimes asking or putting that invitation out there, because you never know. It could just be that person knowing that you're there as a resource. That can mean so much, because sometimes you're like at a loss. You feel like you have nobody. It can be very isolating. And knowing that you have people out there, like it really does mean a lot.
Wow. That's, yeah. Great advice for the village. Great advice for us as part of the village. About almost a year ago, during Autism Awareness Month, we had one of our Coco moms, Taquana, on, who shared her experience. Her son is now, I think he's 20, going on 21. But she shared her experience in this journey. And I'm sure like that's one of the biggest ways that we can show up, is to, and that's the thing too, like there's two different ways to give support, right? You can be the one that says, hey, if you need anything, call me. You can be the one that says, I'm dropping this off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you probably haven't had a chance to cook a meal, so I'm ordering some Uber Eats to send your way. I'm going to do this. And for those of us, and the three of us occupy this space, who struggle with saying, can you help me? Yes, we know that we know that we have to ask for help. Like we know that, but that we struggle. Like, come on, sis,
Yes,
come on, bro. So just send the help, send it without us having to ask for it. So
absolutely.
that's great. As we wrap up, there is a video. I don't know. I love this video. So if it's okay, I want to show the one. If not, I'll drop it in the link and they can go find it. But the video from the barbershop, because I just thought this was so dope, that I found on that they reposted from your page, your barber. But before I do, can you just like share a little bit about your barber, like how dope of an experience?
So Reed the barber, Cherie, she's like family now, and um, she's been cutting Jackson's hair for like a couple years. Really started cutting my oldest son's hair. I have a son who's almost 17, and she was referred to me through my sister's friend, When we moved back to Georgia, I'm like, hey, I need a barber for Jordan. And she gave me her number. I hit her up and I'm like, hey, my oldest son, but I have, a younger son, but he has autism. Do you think you would be able to cut his hair? She's like, yeah, she has like this very like calming voice. She was like, yeah, I'm really good with kids. I'm patient. And I'm thinking like, we're gonna see Jessica go break you down. Like I've heard this before. We've been kicked out of the finest of barbershops across the nation.
See?
But you know, when I first started taking him, it was just horrible. Like
Mhm.
it was like a whole scene. But she never like it didn't freak her out. And I think I was more frustrated than anything. It was a horrible experience for Jackson, horrible experience for me. We both would leave like frustrated. He's like traumatized. I'm like frustrated, sweating, tired from trying to fight him, to hold him, to get his hair down, to get his hair cut. And finally, I'm like, why am I putting my child through this? Why? Because society says he has to have a haircut? No, this is horrible. And then I started feeling the guilt. Like,
Mhm.
why did I make my child go through that? I know how he feels about loud noises. I don't even like going to the barbershop. When I used to have like the little cute little cut in the back, I didn't even like it. I used to get anxious. As soon as I hear the buzzers, I'm like, oh no.
Right.
So we actually stopped going, getting his haircut for almost 2 years. So it was like 2 years of people in their judgments, making comments, saying everything. But what happened was my oldest was still getting his hair cut, and we would always go. So I would take Jackson with him, when we would go, and he's like, "Where we going?" Because he kind of figured like the cadence of, okay,
Mhm.
it's by the time I get a haircut, and he would freak out in the car. Oh, I don't want to go to the barbershop. And then he started getting a little bit more comfortable with it. And then one day he's like, I want to get my hair cut. And I'm like, what?
Oh.
You sure? And I was like, you know what? We're not about to waste Reed's time, Jackson. Like, you're not about to fool me and embarrass me. I was like, well, will you let mommy cut your hair first? Child, I messed my child hair up so bad. But he let me cut it. Like, he was scared, but he sat there and he let me cut it. And I was like, okay, maybe he's ready. And
Mm.
so when he told me that, we had the next appointment for my oldest son. Jackson had to use the bathroom, and so we usually sit in the car and wait on Jordan, but he had to use the bathroom this day. I was like, oh, Jack, I don't want to get out. We go in there, and he goes to use the bathroom, and then he sees Ree. He walks up to her. He like gives her a high five, dap, whatever, and she was like, "You remember me? Like, you ready for me to cut your hair?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh."
Oh.
I was like, "Okay." So we scheduled the appointment, and I'm like, she's like reassuring me, and I'm like, "You sure you're gonna be able to do it? We're gonna try, but if you can't do it, it's okay." She's like, I got you." And he let her cut his hair,
Wow.
and it wasn't like he sat there still, like he was very scared, but we had his headphones, we had snacks, like so we started, really like prepping him to go, and he's like just blowing, I don't know what, all over my arm, just like rub my arm. Ugh. Like I'm like the biggest germaphobe, but this child right here, like he really challenges me, helps me grow, because oh my
Uh,
gosh, like he's like all over me. But yeah, so this particular day, the video, um, it was like the worst of the worst days. And she was like, I got you. She's calm. I got you. I'm gonna get it done.
oh.
And I see her cutting his hair while standing up, and something just told me to record. And I was like, oh wow, she really doing this. And
Wow.
when I posted the video on TikTok, I didn't think anything of it. I actually erased it the first time, and then I reposted it like a minute later and went about my day. And then I just kept getting notifications. I was looking like, what is going on here? The number, like I usually get like 100 views, if that. This day was like at 300, and then one number was saying 30,000, but it was going so fast it couldn't keep up. And by that night, it was like at 500,000 views. By the next day, it just kept going and going and going. And then it went to Instagram, and
And I'm gonna
everybody
share
started
it while
reposting it.
you keep
Yeah,
talking.
I was
I'm
like,
gonna share it while you continue.
yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, who's that, Jackson?
This is the video from Dr.
He loves
LaQuista.
that.
So this go
Christ.
follow
Jesus
expose
Christ.
cut.
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Read the barber.
Jesus
Exposed.
Christ. Jesus Christ. Jesus
Oh.
Christ. Jesus Christ. Jesus
Oh.
Christ.
Okay, Jackson, hold on.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh,
My
you
head
are
hurts.
so
Your head
handsome.
hurt.
I know. Well,
Wanna go lay down?
we thank you so much. And that video has been, I saw that you all were on Kelly Clarkson. I saw Ebony reposted it. Like even one of our Coco moms, Lori just dropped in there. I saw the video, it was so amazing. And for me, like I said, I got to you through some other channels, but then when I saw that, I was like, what in the, this is amazing. So but I thank you for sharing the whole story too, because like you said, it's a journey. And I think there's
Mhm.
a message even in that. Like that is where you got to. That is where Jackson has gotten to. And that's why you got to kind of stay the course. So if
Right.
you have just maybe one or two tips, whatever you want that you could just share as words of encouragement to especially the moms out there, especially the Coco moms out there, what would it be? Please share.
Um, I would definitely say when it comes to self care and self love, like always remember that when you're taking care of other people, like your family, your friends, or whatever, particularly like family, like with moms, like our job is to take care of families. Remember that you're part of that family too, girl. Like take care of yourself. You cannot be the best mom that you need to be for your little one if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not mentally in a good place, physically in a good space. So make sure you make that a priority and reach out to someone if you need help. Like everybody needs a little help now and then. We don't get here on our own. This is a community. So don't be afraid to reach out. And don't let it get so overwhelming that you don't do anything, that you don't start. So, one small thing is kind of like the butterfly effect. So, one small change can really affect everything surrounding you. So, if it's changing one meal out of your diet to make sure like you're eating a little bit more healthier, that's great. You don't have to go completely vegan. Like you don't have to work out 5, 6 days a
Right.
week. Do something. Like those small changes, they matter and they eventually become habits when you keep up
Mm.
with it. So
Ooh.
just start today.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was like the best advice. I 1000% feel it. It resonated. Like I said, last year I found myself severely like breaking the scale where I had not places I had not seen before on this scale. And so to your point, I had become so overwhelmed that I just didn't know where to start. So then
Right.
it's like this, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is you just spiral out of control. And then it's like, well, I don't want to, but I want to, but I don't want to. And so then I don't. And then you're just in this vicious cycle. Elle, any final words you want to say, especially because we've talked about overwhelming and taking care of ourselves and as part of that family. I love that what you said about remember as you're taking care of family, your family too, like you family to yourself. So any final words you have?
Yeah, I just thank you so much for just lifting up everything that you lifted up and just the need for self-care when you're a mom, because as you mentioned earlier in the conversation, we take it as a badge of honor to do all the things all the time. Like that's just one of the things that we're like, oh yeah, like I'm doing all the things. And we have to understand that there is strength and there is importance in making sure that we take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of others, you know. And so I think that was really really good that this is like your self-care with your capital ER. Like I love, like that for me was the whole that's all I needed to hear.
Yep.
And so thank you so much for lifting that up, because it's so important. We just have to make sure that we really, really make time for ourselves. Like that's super important.
It
So
is.
thank
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, you all. Before we close out, we just want to lift up the amazing experience that is coming up in a few short months, which is International Coco Mom Day. But if you're new to us today, to the channel, you came because you knew Dr. LaQuista was going to be in the house, or you're watching the playback. We just want to show a video from our first, which is now annual, International Coco Mom Day. And this just tells you a little bit more about Coco Life Black and what we do. So enjoy.
Welcome to Coco Life Black, where we excitedly cultivate gifts, services, and spaces for Black and brown moms globally.
Coco Life Black is an online retail and resource site to support 3 maternal stages of pregnancy, postpartum, and compassion for the loss of a child.
Here at Coco Life Black, we promote a Coco community for our fathers, children, aunties, uncles, grandparents, pastors, and more. We honor the nurturing space you hold as you are the mother's village.
Coco Life Black was started out of the need to increase access to Black-owned maternity sites. Our mission is to help reduce race-related disparities in maternal health while offering grief support for moms who have experienced the loss of a baby or a loved one.
Along your journey, let us support you by giving access to doulas, mental health professionals, and education around wellness, birth, and more. We show our commitment to mothers and women by providing gifts, guidance, and compassion throughout each maternal stage. Join us as we support moms, bump and beyond.
Woo!
Nice.
So this is our ancestors' wildest dreams. I know it sounds trite, but this is the blessing, the community. You have Dr. LaQuista. She is here. She has shared and poured her heart and the things that she has gone through. She has been transparent. She has let you know that you are not alone. And so again, whether you're watching live or the playback, please know that you have gained another resource in her, as you have gained a resource in us and everybody she's connected to. So that's why we want to stay connected. So we thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you go and follow Dr. LaQuista on Instagram and all of her channels. She is Dr. LaQuista, as it says in her name, or LaQuista, on Instagram, on Facebook, everywhere you can find her. So thank you so much to all of you who have tuned in. If you're looking for us, you know we out here cultivating community. Good morning, gorgeous. Good afternoon, gorgeous. Good night, gorgeous. Go follow us at CocoLife.Black everywhere as well. And make sure you share this video. Thank y'all so much. Peace and blessings.